Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel, Philosmos. My name is Fumani, and today I've got a very interesting topic for you. This topic will actually help you transform your life. It will help you get down to the basics and just to formulate ideas and goals that correlate to this basic principle, and that is the art of living. If you did not know, well, now you know. There's an art to living. There's a technique. There's a way that you live. There's a style in which you're supposed to live in that is going to produce the highest intensity of happiness, a happiness that is congruent, a happiness that you can feel moment to moment, a level of peace, a level of sense of happiness and love, so it is attainable. It's something that is attainable, but it's an art. And it's something that you need to understand on the basic level. So the first way to master the art of living first boils down to knowledge. We human beings do not have an embedded understanding of the environment around us. We have to accumulate knowledge, and we test knowledge based on circumstances and experiences. And once the knowledge is no longer usable to the event or the circumstance, and then we change our knowledge, and thus this knowledge is in constant flux, or that's the whole purpose of it. Most human beings are stuck on perceptions and ideas that are supposed to be molding and changing with time. So your knowledge is supposed to be expanding. It's supposed to be growing. The magnitude, of your knowledge should be in such a high state that it is constantly growing, and in growing, your experience of life will be rich. So in order to accumulate knowledge, you need to develop the sense of investigation, which investigation will lead to curiosity. Curiosity will lead to investigation. Okay, so once you investigate your life, once you investigate your mind, your body, your circumstances, the events, everything in your life, once you investigate it, you create the spirit of curiosity. Now, curiosity is a fundamental thing that is needed as a human being. You need to be curious with your environment. You need to continuously be investigating it, seeing what has changed, what needs to be changed within you. So once you accumulate that, then you take yourself to a new level where you can actually have a richer experience in life, and you understand your environment more. And once you understand your environment more, you're no longer in opposition to it. You're no longer in conflict with it. You're actually in unison with it. There's a harmony. It's harmonious, and there's no longer this background feeling that you're encountering life, that you feel like you are now life. Why? Because you've done the investigations, you were curious, and you've attained the knowledge that you need to gain. But knowledge is futile if it is not paired up with discipline. So in order to attain the highest intensity of pleasure is to have in the background pain. Pain needs to be in the background of your experience to increase the intensity of pleasure that you would like to experience in the future. So I've got a very simple formula. It's amplify your participation in that activity, in that action, whatever it is, and then what will happen is that you increase the intensity of the consequence of that action, because every action has a reaction. It's the law of cause and effect. So when you increase the level of participation that you have in any activity or in any endeavor that you do, the thing that you do habitually, and I mean every single day, is what will increase the intensity of the consequence. So that action that you're doing, treat it as a seed. It is a seed that will one day grow and blossom into something. So that something needs to be something positive, something that you can look at and actually feel the sense of happiness and pleasure, or of actually attaining that thing that took a long time to actually achieve. So the long time is not necessarily necessary, but it's something that actually transpires when you're in the mode of discipline. Because discipline is something that is moment to moment. It's not something that will be done tomorrow. It's something that is considered at every hour of the day. So you need to love, firstly, the knowledge that you've attained. You need to have passion for it. And thus, when you enter the domain of discipline, you're going to encounter resistance in a different way, because the normal colloquial way of dealing with resistance is to either eliminate it or run away from it. So my approach, the Philosopher's approach, is neutralizing that resistance. So once you've neutralized that resistance, then you take yourself to the point where you can engage in an action in an open way. So understand these basic principles. Analyze what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. What are you disciplined in? Because life requires a skill. You need a skill set. You need to be able to be, you need to have a skill, something that you can do very well, something that you have spent time and effort on. Because once you've molded that kind of intensity in your action, then life becomes more meaningful. Then life takes the position of actually being something rewarding, something fulfilling. Okay, so once you've mastered the art of discipline, once you've taken yourself to the point where you're engaging in an action every day, to the point where you've mastered it, then comes the aspect of play. Now, play in this sense, I've spoken about play in my second video. So the aspect of play is getting yourself in that open state. Okay. So in that open state is the state that is relating to the art of living. Now, the expression in what you've investigated, what you've attained, the discipline that you've honed in into, and now you're expressing it. Now you're taking yourself to that level where you're bringing it out into the world. That thing that was experienced in private, all that pain, all that suffering that you experience, because discipline will bring in that level of pain, but pain, a refined level of pain. It's not a pain that is destroying you, it's a pain that is growing you. And once you've taken yourself to that point where you've increased that intensity of that refined pain, then now you can express it into the world. Then it has more depth, then it has more, it has a higher quality to it in which people take notice. It's more of an energetic thing, because once you've spent that time, you take yourself to that level vibrationally, even where you've reached a state that most people are not on, in that level of skill. So when you take yourself on the level of expression, people receive it more, because expression needs receiving. Okay, there needs to be a receiver. So once you've taken yourself to that level when you're playful in whatever craft that you have honed into, then the reception that you get from that is based on the intensity of your expression. How do you express it now? How do you take what is intangible and now express it into the world? And now that is the element of being playful. It's the element of being creative. You need to be creative in what you've learned and then apply it into your life. So most people would apply this in sports and writing, and being a teacher. Whatever you want to do, the sky is the limit. These are the three principles that you need to master, because without the knowledge, you will not be able to understand. Without the discipline, your actions will not have potency. And without the play, then there's no effect that you have on the world. Thus, the level of fulfillment that you feel will not be satisfactory. So these three principles, once you understand them, once you take yourself to the level of incorporating them into your life, you will master the art of living. And these are the basic techniques that you need to master. And all these come with particular mindsets, okay? So that I will elaborate in another video. But just to understand, knowledge turns into discipline and then turns into a play. And that is what creates a level of, how can I say, like a powerful effect that now you can have on the world. And that's what will be reflected to you, the amount of power that you have as an individual. And understanding this, you take yourself to the point where you're able to self-generate happiness, self-generate peace, self-generate love, because you've mastered the art of living. But of course, I can continue on this much more, but I'm being as reductive as possible. So I'd like to end it off as I always end it off. But before I do that, please subscribe to my channel, please like, please share. To those who seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.